Hi, I'm Gondreen, and welcome to Course Crash. And today I'm going to be talking about one of the world's most pressing, but also hidden issues: sharks. Sharks are the ocean's apex predator, right? The top of the food chain, as we know. To the average person, sharks are just that big, scary fish swimming in the middle of the ocean, eating the occasional fish or two, right? Pretty basic. Actually, though, no. That could not be any further from the real truth. Sharks hold a much larger and important role in our ocean's ecosystems than meets the eye initially. They aren't just that thing that scares your local tourist on the beach, but they're actually one of the backbones that hold together not only our oceans, but also the earth as we know it. Sharks have been around for over 400 million years and have lived through multiple of Earth's mass extinctions. So it seems like it'd be pretty hard to get rid of them, and we're not going to do it anytime soon, right? Well, in recent years, humanity has unfortunately started to decimate the world's shark population. Sharks, which have, like I said, survived over 400 million years on Earth, have decreased in population by 90% in the past 30 years. And we have ourselves to blame. The loss of 90% of the global shark population can be accredited to four main reasons. Firstly, overfishing. Sharks are commonly caught by fishermen, and with a big lack in concrete international policies controlling shark fishing, sharks have fallen victim to extreme overfishing in the past 3 decades. Secondly, is that sharks are very susceptible to bycatch. Bycatch is when fishermen are not intentionally trying to catch sharks, but when they're using large nets, like gill nets for example, sharks will inevitably be caught and killed accidentally. The third, and probably the most pathetic reason for the shark population to decline, is that people view sharks as very extremely aggressive and dangerous animals, and they've been killing them simply out of fear. However, this could not be any farther from the truth, since statistically, you're more likely to die in a freak tanning bed accident than to a shark. And lastly, shark populations have plummeted because of shark finning. Shark finning is when a shark is caught, has its fins cut off, and thrown back in the ocean to die. The fins are then used to make a delicacy called shark fin soup. However, shark finning has become illegal in many countries, but the problem is that there are many international loopholes which allow shark finning to remain one of the world's most corrupt and unethical practices. But so then, what could we expect to happen if us humans don't stop killing sharks, and we make one of the Earth's most ancient creatures go extinct? So like I mentioned earlier, sharks are at the top of the food chain. They are the apex predators. They eat larger fish, for example, tuna, and those tuna eat even smaller fish, such as bottom dwellers, who live off of algae on the bottom of the ocean. If sharks were to disappear, then the whole food chain would be completely destroyed. Without sharks controlling the fish populations, the small bottom dwellers would soon be swallowed up by the overpopulated fish predators. And the smallest algae-eating fish would be swallowed up. And with no bottom feeders, algae in the ocean would grow wild. And it's not just algae, it's also bacteria too. And when bacteria and algae populations increase at very high rates, this would be extremely bad for coral reefs. And this is because corals would not be able to use photosynthesis, because the sunlight that they need to get nutrients from the water and carbon dioxide wouldn't be able to reach them because the bacteria and algae would cover them, and the sunlight would not get through in the photic zones. And without any sunlight reaching these coral reefs, they would eventually die, leaving behind endless dead skeletons, which would eventually turn into limestone. This would then later lead to countless marine species which relied on coral reefs for their ecosystems going extinct. And with so much more algae, it would also likely clog up fish gills and pollute water and seafood that we humans eat. Additionally, if sharks went extinct, carcasses from sharks are also an important food source for many marine animals, such as orcas, other sharks, and even octopuses. After an extinction of sharks, eventually these species would be at a risk of starvation because one of their main food sources would completely disappear from the oceans. Specifically, one very interesting trophic cascade that would occur following the extinction of sharks comes down to specifically the tiger shark. Tiger sharks are known for eating sea turtles, and sea turtles love to graze vegetation on the bottom of the seafloor. Tiger sharks currently prevent the overgrazing of seafloor vegetation by turtles, but without them, underwater vegetation in countless areas would be gone due to sea turtle overgrazing, and this would create massive ecosystem problems worldwide. Additionally, one of the niches that sharks fill is keeping schools of fish healthy and in order. They commonly prey on sick and injured fish, which keeps the schools very healthy. But if there are no sharks to eat those injured and sick fish, all the schools would then become unbalanced. It would cause a lot of chaos because schools of fish would no longer be able to function how they normally did. But now to get very human-centric with the topic of shark extinction, a massive concern, which not a lot of people realize, is the Earth's oxygen levels. Scientists estimate that around 50 to 80% of the Earth's oxygen is produced in the ocean by plankton. So these are different algae, drifting plankton, and some kinds of bacteria in the ocean. And normally, sharks eat and control the fish population that eat oxygen-generating plankton. But no sharks, and there could be a serious shortage of oxygen on Earth. And with the human population already above our carrying capacity, and we're at increasingly fast rates of human population increase, who's to say what the consequences of an oxygen shortage in the near future would be? And also, our global economy could also be affected by a shark extinction. A great example comes from North Carolina. Great whites were overfished, and what this allowed was for the stingray and different ray populations in North Carolina to grow at horrifyingly fast rates. And with a disproportionately high population of rays, they ate record large amounts of bay scallops, which resulted in local fisheries having to close, compromising a lot of jobs in the North Carolina area. And lastly, the extinction of sharks would be horrible for ecotourism. Tourist divers will pay lots and lots of money to see sharks in their natural habitat. For example, in the Bahamas, just one Caribbean reef shark can bring in over $250,000 in revenue in its lifetime. And even more significant is that one whale shark in Belize can bring in $2 million in revenue in its lifetime. Oof. Okay, so let's take a second to pause, because that sounds pretty grim. And if this is really what's going to happen to us if we continue on our current path, what are we supposed to do to prevent us Homo sapiens from destroying all oceanic ecosystems? The United States continues to be a leader in promoting the global conservation and management of sharks. The NOAA works with regional fisheries and management organizations and other international bodies for global shark conservation and management measures. Additionally, the Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals, also known as the CMS, or the Bonn Convention, aims to conserve terrestrial, aquatic, and avian migratory species. It is an intergovernmental treaty backed by the United Nations Environment Program, concerned with the conservation of wildlife habitats on a global scale, and this includes sharks. And lastly, one nation specifically that does a fantastic job of protecting its shark population is the Bahamas. The Bahamas created the first shark sanctuary in the Atlantic Ocean in 2011. Over 40 shark species reside in its 630,000 square kilometers. In 2018, the Wild Aid Marine partnered with the Nature Conservation and multiple Bahamian government agencies to form a Marine Action Partnership for Sustainable Fisheries, which has greatly contributed to the Bahamas having a happy and healthy living shark population. So then, if we'd like to prevent our oceans and Earth from getting destroyed, we better start taking notes. Well, that's all there is from me today. I hope you guys all enjoyed watching and learned a little bit about what would happen if sharks were to go extinct. And maybe, just maybe, now in your life, you'll take some steps to help conserve one of the world's most beautiful and awesome species. Peace.